kids. Welcome to I Love Big Trains. I'm Jeff, and trains are one of my favorite things in the world. Usually I talk about toy trains, but in this show, I want to talk about real trains. Trains are the cheapest and most fun way to travel, and trains are the best way to ship important materials like wood, automobiles, coal, and oil. Sit back and relax. We have a great show for you. First, we visit the Illinois Railway Museum and see how a big, full-size steam locomotive works. We'll also ride in the cab of a big diesel. We'll jump across the Atlantic Ocean to show you what trains look like in Spain, France, and Portugal. Then we'll visit a railroad yard and learn how a freight train is put together. We've got a full schedule ahead, so let's get started. All aboard!
I love big trains, the way they travel down the track with the smoke coming out the stack. There is nothing quite the same as they travel past my window pane. I love big trains. I love big trains, as they travel down the track with smoke coming out the stack. There is nothing quite the same as they travel past my window pane. I love big trains. Big trains in the deep white winter snow, when the summer breezes blow. People think that I'm insane, but I'll even go out in the rain. I love big trains. I love big trains. I love big trains.
We're at the Illinois Railway Museum in Union, Illinois. Toy trains are nice, but nothing beats the real thing. And Union is definitely filled with the real thing. Like this 1630 Frisco 210O. 210O refers to the wheel arrangement. 2 wheels up front, 10 big drivers in the middle, and no wheels in the back. That's how we get 210O. 210Os are called decapods. Don't ask me why. A steam locomotive needs at least 2 people to operate it, an engineer and a fireman. The engineer runs the locomotive. He works the throttle, applies the brakes, and blows the whistle. The fireman is not like the fireman who puts out fires. This fireman starts fires, but don't worry, he starts fires inside the boiler. The fireman has 3 main responsibilities: keep water in the boiler, keep the fire burning in the firebox, and keep the steam pressure up. A steam locomotive is a machine made up of a firebox, cylinders, pistons, connecting rods, and wheels. The heat generated by burning coal or wood in the firebox boils the water and creates steam. This action makes the big drivers turn and the big train move. Fascinating, isn't it? The Illinois Railway Museum also has a shay. Most steam locomotives get their power from the horizontal action of the drive rods. The shay is different. The shay gets its power from the vertical action of the drive rods. Shays were designed to haul heavy loads of coal and lumber up steep grades and around sharp turns. Today, this shay has an easy job of pulling 3 old cabooses on the level terrain. The Illinois Railway Museum has lots of different equipment. Old streetcars and trolleys that ride on rails, and old streetcars that run right on the street. Both get their power from an overhead catenary system. Here is a very old box cab electric. It needs some restoration. Union also has a nice mix of diesel locomotives. This is the museum's most popular train, the shiny Nebraska Zephyr. This sleek streamliner is headed by an E5 diesel. E units were built by General Motors Electromotive Division. They have 6-wheel trucks. The passenger cars have rib sides and articulated trucks. That means one truck supports 2 car ends. These cars cannot be uncoupled the way other cars can be. The cars and engine pulls is called its consist. This light that is moving around is called a Mars light. It moves around to get people's attention, so they notice the train coming. The observation car has a red Mars light. On an old passenger train, the observation car is the best seat in the house. The seats are very comfortable, and you get a great view of the landscape passing by. Have you ever wanted to ride in the cab of a diesel? It's a beautiful day, so let's go. We're in Metra number 308, an EMD F7. We're going to make a run on the Illinois Railway Museum's main line. When a diesel gets up to speed, it's common for it to rock from side to side. You sit high in the cab, and it's a great view. On a day like today, you can open the cab windows and enjoy the breeze.
Down the line, rain or shine, traveling both day and night. The sound of the tracks past the hobo shacks, billboards and neon lights. New York to LA, almost every day, along this country I roam. The cabin sways along the railways, and I always feel right at home. This is more than a train to me, there's no other place I'd rather be. Some people might think it's just metal and chrome, but to me it's a home sweet home. To me it's shine, traveling both day and night. The sound of the tracks past the hobo shacks, billboards and neon lights. New York to LA, almost every day, along this country I roam. The cabin sways along the railways, and I always feel right at home. This is more than a train to me, there's no other place I'd rather be. Some people might think it's just metal and chrome, but to me it's a home sweet home. To me it's a home sweet home. This is more than a train to me, there's no other place I'd rather be. Some people might think it's just metal and chrome, but to me it's a home sweet home. To me it's a home sweet home. To me it's a home sweet home.
Trains are important all around the world. Let's take a look at some trains in France, Spain, and Portugal. First stop, a beautiful station in Nice, France. There are several tracks for trains to park, while people get on and get off. These trains go to many parts of France, including Cannes and Paris. Nice is located in the south of France, right next to the Mediterranean Sea. Some of the trains are streamlined and very colorful. The front of this locomotive looks like a jetliner. This consist is articulated. Trains like this one run on electricity. Overhead catenary lines provide power. The electric current is transferred to the train by pantographs. This is two trains combined. At the next stop, the trains will split up and head for different cities. You want to take your car with you? No problem. Just have it loaded on this car called an auto carrier. When the train arrives at your destination, the auto carriers are uncoupled and switched to a siding, where the autos are driven off. This is Malaga, Spain. Spain is known for its old castles and beautiful cathedrals. This little station is at the end of the line. Notice these track patterns. 4 switches and a crossing make it possible for trains coming from either direction to switch to the other track. Here is a fun way to travel. A set of old wood side cars pulled by a trolley. When the the train comes to the end of the line, the trolley is switched to the opposite end. This manual switch is used to direct the trolley from the passing siding to the main line. This sign means this is a railroad crossing. The trolley blows its whistle to warn cars to stop. Next stop is Valencia, Spain. Like Nice, Valencia has a large and beautiful train station. There are many colorful, streamlined passenger trains, as well as many plain-looking trains. The trains are checked over and cleaned up before embarking on a new trip. Both diesel and electric engines use the station, so an overhead catenary system is required. Our final stop, Lisbon, Portugal. Lisbon is a beautiful city, and trains come and go all day and all night. Trolleys and streetcars are still used to carry people in the city. Trolleys and streetcars are a good idea because they cut down on traffic and pollution. Sometimes a trolley has to wait for cars parked in their way. The trolleys and streetcars are seen by many people, so the transit company sells space for advertising, sort of like moving billboards. This helps keep ticket prices down, which is a good thing. This is a typical railroad crossing in Europe. When a train approaches, the attendant turns on the flashing signal, rings the bell, and lowers the gates. This sign means stop on red signal. Lisbon has a subway system as well. Subway trains run under the ground. wonder where a freight train begins? How it's put together? It all happens in a freight yard. We're at the freight yard of the Indiana Harbor Belt Railroad. Let's see what goes on here. Freight cars have to be moved from one track to another. The most common way is called flat switching. Here's how it works. A switching engine, sometimes called a yard goat, pushes or pulls freight cars over a switch to another track. There are many switches and many different tracks. Tracks are also called lines. Some switches are manually controlled. The switches in this yard have motors for automatic control. Sometimes the action on the track sets off the alarm of a car in the automobile carrier. This sign informs the crews in the yard which tracks are in action. After a train is put together, a warning light called an EOT, for end of train device, is placed on the last car. The EOT warns the engineer of an approaching train that he is getting close. Let's talk a little more about diesel locomotives. This is an NW2. It was made by General Motors Electromotive Divisions. The area where the engineer sits is called the cab. Couplers join the locomotive and cars together. The two stacks on top of the hood are for the exhaust from the diesel engine. Every locomotive has a horn, a bell, and headlights. Diesel fuel is kept in a tank under the locomotive chassis. The wheels are held in special frames called trucks. Sometimes locomotives are given extra power from booster units, like this one. All sorts of freight cars pass through a railroad yard, including flat cars with coil shields, tank cars, gondolas carrying scrap metal, flat cars with railroad wheels and axles, and long hoppers. An economical way to switch cars is by use of a hump yard. It's called a hump yard because the tracks go up a large hill or a hump. At the peak of the hump, the cars are uncoupled and they roll down the other side. A locomotive pushes the cars up to the hump, and gravity pulls the cars down the hill. A switchman in the hump tower routes the cars to the various tracks. At the bottom of the hill, brake shoes press against the wheels to control the speed of cars that exit the retarder. Retarders are controlled from the retarder tower. After the retarder slows the cars down, they gently roll to a stop on the flat section of the yard. Notice the spinning axles in the trucks. These are called roller bearings. That loud screeching you hear is the brake shoes of the retarder pressing against the metal wheels of the freight car. After the locomotive has pushed all the cars up the hump, it makes a run for another set of cars to be switched. And so it goes, day after day, working with trains. Boy, these guys sure are lucky. Locomotives go to the roundhouse for maintenance. The Indiana Harbor Belt Railroad uses a turntable to transfer locomotives to the various bays of the roundhouse. It's called a turntable because the engine sits on the platform, or table, and it turns. The roundhouse curves around the turntable. The turntable lines up with the tracks so the locomotive can easily get on and off. The turntable operator signals the engineer to go forward, reverse, or stop. Inside the roundhouse, there are dugout areas called pits between the rails so the repair crews can work under the locomotive. Platforms are the same heights as the locomotive, so the crews can easily get on or get off the engine. The turntable can swing either clockwise or counterclockwise. The turntable is powered by an electric motor, which turns gears connected to the drive wheel. The electric connection for the turntable is at the very top. Two flashing blue lights warn crews that the turntable is operating.
Bringing on water and shoveling coal, trying to make some honest pay. My papa said, son, it's a good old job, just a-working on the railway. Up with the sun most every day, and down to the railroad yard, driving those spikes and lifting ties and fixing those railroad cars. I'm working hard, just a-working in the railway yard. I'm working hard, just a-working in the railway yard. Spreading that gravel underneath the tracks, replacing those worn out ties. The sound of metal hitting iron and steel as another train rolls by. Swinging that hammer till my body aches, pounding till my hands are red. Doing everything from checking brakes to building that flagman shed. I'm working hard, I'm working on the railway yard. I'm working hard, just a-working in the railway yard. Mighty hard. They say, Joe, why don't you quit working in the railway yard? But I just smile and shake my head, 'cause I could never see the day when I'm not getting my hands dirty just working on the railway. I'm working hard. I'm working in the railway yard. I'm working hard, just working in the railway yard. I'm working hard, I'm working in the railway yard. I'm working hard, just working in the railway yard. 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 Just working in the railway yard.
Safety is the most important thing on a railroad. Real trains are a lot of fun, but they are also very dangerous. It's okay to watch trains from a safe distance, but you never want to walk on the tracks, tamper with signals, or climb on railroad equipment. Remember, big trains are not toy trains. Well, time to go. I have to go to my music lesson. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time in I Love Big Trains #2.
When I see that big engine coming down the track, I get all excited and that's a fact. There's no denying it, I love big trains. When I know there's something big headed down the line, I feel a chill run down my spine. There's no denying it, I love big trains. Big old trucks, why they're okay, but I see them on the road almost every day. Buses and planes just aren't the same compared to the side of a big old train. When I see the big engine headed down the track, I get all excited and that's a fact. There's no denying it, I love big trains. Why they're okay, but I see them on the road almost every day. Buses and planes just aren't the same compared to the side of a big old train. When I know there's something big headed down the line, I feel a chill running down my spine. There's no denying it, I love big trains. There's no denying it, I love big trains. There's no denying it, I love big trains.
I'm Jeff. We have a great show for you.
As they travel along on the railroad track with the little boxcars being pulled back, you can hear the sound of that clickety-clack as they pass the houses and the little doors